As one of these 6 volcanoes, Hawaii's Mauna Loa volcano, the largest active volcano in the world, has been causing concerns lately. The volcano has been showing signs of an impending disaster. This started when it sent lava flows toward a major highway, causing local concerns. As the primary route connecting Hilo and Kona, the highway runs east and west across the Big Island. This would lead to a road blockage which could create problems, especially for those who commute from Hilo and other parts of the island's east side, where housing is generally cheaper to jobs on the west side, home to many of the larger beach resorts. Hilo is also home to the Hilo Medical Center, which employs 1,600 people, some of whom come from the west side. We have such limited roadways on this island, and anytime we lose a roadway, it just shifts all that traffic to somewhere else, Mike Brown, a Kona resident, told NBC News. Unless some sort of bypass is constructed, commuters must take coastal routes to and from Kailua Kona, adding at least an hour of extra driving each way. Hawaii Governor David Ige had to issue an emergency proclamation to allow responders to arrive quickly or limit access as needed. So if lava does cross the highway, now lava flows in Hawaii typically travel at a pace that can be avoided. However, the USGS warns that they can destroy everything in their paths, including vegetation and infrastructure, which can cut off road access and utilities. And these lava flows can result in severe burns, abrasions, and lacerations. On account of the 1868 quake describes an avalanche instantly burying 10 houses, 31 souls, and 500 head of cattle. At the same time, the sea rose 20 feet along the southern shore of the island. 108 houses were destroyed and 46 people drowned, making a loss of 118 houses and 77 lives in that district during this 1 hour. And Mauna Loa's volcanic interactions with sister volcano Kilauea triggered another major earthquake in 1973, resulting in financial losses estimated at $7 million, though no lives were lost. And what's more, volcanic smog related to Mauna Loa's volcanic activity has impacted human health negatively, destroying crops and contaminating drinking water. Active volcanoes like Mauna Loa can create volcanic smog, abbreviated as VOG, which forms when volcanic gases such as sulfur dioxide combine with elements in the atmosphere such as moisture and oxygen. VOG can cause respiratory problems for people living downwind of the volcano, kill crops, and reduce air and road traffic visibility. It could also lead to acid rain, which negatively affects the environment. Even though Mauna Loa itself has not erupted since 1984, it is an active volcano and has indirectly caused volcanic air pollution since its last major eruption. And most recently, in the early 2000s, Mauna Loa began inflating, and soon after, neighbor Kilauea, with whom it shares a complex volcanic relationship, began erupting and creating VOG. However, Mauna Loa is not going to be the first volcano that would erupt powerful enough to split the Earth apart, as we've had one of these before. The largest sustained volcanic eruption we've had in Earth's history was so powerful it split an ancient supercontinent and created the Atlantic Ocean. It spewed millions of square miles of searing lava that extinguished much of life on ancient Earth, according to research made public recently. Scientists have pieced together evidence of the Titanic eruption 200 million years ago from hundreds of basalt outcrops that rim the Atlantic coasts. The eruption set the fractured landmasses adrift and, by inexorably wedging them apart, gradually opened the gulf that created the Atlantic, giving the map of the world the form it has today. In the case of an eruption beneath Yellowstone National Park, it would result in global food scarcity and a volcanic winter, characterized by the cooling of the lower atmosphere. According to the UN, an eruption could leave us with a mere 74-day food supply. If the supervolcano underneath Yellowstone were to experience another massive eruption, it would spew ash across thousands of miles in the United States. This ash would cause damage to buildings, smother crops, and disrupt power plants, leading to a colossal disaster. However, the most probable eruption scenario for Yellowstone would be a smaller event characterized by lava flows similar to what is currently happening in Iceland's Bardarbunga volcano, and potentially a typical volcanic explosion. This scenario would likely be preceded by a swarm of earthquakes in a specific region of the park as the magma rises towards the surface. In the unlikely event of a much larger super eruption, the warning signs would be more significant. Intense seismic activity would likely be observed across the entire park. As explained by Lowenstern, these earthquakes could take weeks or months to break through the overlying rocks before an eruption occurs. Now, if a super eruption were to happen, a catastrophic event 1,000 times more powerful than a regular volcanic eruption, ejecting at least 240 cubic miles of material and lasting for weeks or months, the lava flows themselves would be contained within a relatively small radius in the park, approximately 40 miles or so. In fact, only about 1/3 of the material would reach the atmosphere. The primary damage would result from volcanic ash, a mixture of fragmented rock and glass propelled miles into the air and dispersed across the country. In their recent study, Lowenstern and his colleagues examined historical ash deposits and employed advanced modeling to conclude that an eruption would create an expanding umbrella cloud in all directions, a surprise finding. A super eruption could potentially bury the northern Rockies under 3 feet of ash, devastating vast areas of Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Montana, and Utah. Meanwhile, the Midwest would experience a few inches of ash, with even smaller amounts reaching both coasts. The precise distribution would depend on the time of year and weather patterns. By exploring alternative methods and leveraging the power of natural resources, we can not only mitigate risks but also pave the way for a more sustainable future. As NASA continues to push boundaries and collaborate with experts from various fields, we can look forward to witnessing more ingenious strategies and groundbreaking discoveries that will shape our world for generations to come. But do you think these plans will work? Would these endeavors protect our planet from being destroyed by these volcanoes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.